So that's how the first race ran out. But now, unfortunately, AC Milan the first out, but they will not be making the grid for race 2. That will now go pole position to Flamenco. Dortmund behind them. Anderlecht, Galatasaray, remember, a reverse grid. Olympiacos and Corinthians with Andy Soucek on the third row. Behind them, it's Sevilla, Borja Garcia. Basel, Max Weisel. Then Rangers, Porto, Elian and Andriy Zuba. And Liverpool Football Club start on the 6th row. PSV Eindhoven on the 7th row. Tottenham at the back. So too AS Roma and Beijing, after all the glory of race 1, will have to do it all again. They start at the very back. What a chance that's going to be, especially in these conditions. Olympiacos still in the pits, unfortunately not getting onto the grid. They're hoping to start, as you can see. Their driver Casper Anderson in the car, so they do expect to start, but as you can see, no wheels on that car at the moment. So if they do get out, it's going to be late for sure. We are moments away from the start of the second race. And of course, this track, a very famous track, especially in the wet. Very tough indeed. One of the most famous races, as we said, took place here back in '93 in wet conditions. It's tricky, this track. Sadly, for Robert Dornbos, no luck at all. In fact, AC Milan having an engine problem on the first lap of the first race, and they would have started pole, but they haven't been able to get things together. Alongside me is Bruce Giuani. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for showing us all about this track. This is what they're about to run into, of course, but a real shame for AC Milan and Robert, because they had been one of the favourites.
Yes, and they showed great performance all along the week. They were up there, and it's a shame he couldn't participate and try to be on the podium, because he really deserved a good result, and he showed great performance.
I mentioned that famous race from '93, which was won, of course, by that great Brazilian Ayrton Senna, and it's on the wall in the cafe for everyone to see. Could Tuco Roca do something like that? He's starting right where he needs to be from pole position.
Yeah, right. The difference is, well, the common thing is that it was in the wet conditions, exactly the same as today. But Tuca starts from pole, Senna was starting from 6th position, and he was leading after the first lap. So maybe we'll have something similar from someone else.
Dortmund too, and here's the local hero. This very much the Accrington Stanley, if you like, because Craig Dolby has hardly been in the Anderlecht car all weekend long, and they didn't get much of a run in the race either, coming off at Hollywood.
Yes, he had a problem at turn 1, which was a shame. But I would say it's the same for everyone in that wet race, because no one has been running in the wet so far. So it's the first time for everyone in wet conditions, and it's going to make the race very interesting, actually. As
we look at the full grid, you can see the length there, and of course Beijing, who won the race, are right at the back. How hard is it going to be to try and get on level terms with Flamenco, who really obviously are in a great position now?
Yeah, for sure. In the wet, I would say anything could happen. We don't know what the performance of each one is going to be. We had an idea in the dry. Now we have absolutely no idea. I have a feeling that Dortmund is going to do well, because the driver is experienced. He knows those cars very well, and he's been driving a champ car in wet conditions. So he's going to look strong. As well, Sevilla is going to look strong. He starts in the top 7. So let's look at them. The thing is, starting at the back with Beijing and Roma, they're going to be fighting together as well as the rest of the field. So definitely gonna have a good look at it. Yes. It looked like Beijing was in front of Roma, but it's just
because the grids move forward.
Yeah, the grid move forward. So
now, of course, all on Michelin tyres, one make tyre series. But really, let's be seriously honest here. Not a lot of testing time in the wet. You've been doing all the testing. How much wet tyre testing have you done?
Hardly any. The first time I ever drove the car, it was in Silverstone, England again, wet again.
Well, of course, it's the place to come if you want to test wet tyres.
Yeah, sure. It was the first day, and we did 20 laps, and that's all the running we did in the wet.
So this is going to be really a look into the dark, really, for a lot of these guys. How should they run? They should be consistent, obviously, and they should last the race. That should be no problem. But just how much grip will they have out there in these conditions?
Well, first thing, as you can see just now on the track, the car has no tyre warmers. None of the cars have tyre warmers. It's a help, even though it's a wet tyre, you don't usually put them, but it means they will start with cold tyres. So it'll be.
There's a man with probably cold legs. Scotsman off. I think he's walked here actually. But that's how true the Rangers fans are.
So basically, it's going to be very, very slippery.
Yeah, it is. And you mentioned the lack of tyre warmers. And for those of you who know your motor racing well, that is the whole concept of this Super League formula, is its basics. There are no gizmos, no extras. Like you say, tyre warmers would be expensive. They've gone away with all that. It's purely about driving. This is like going back to Formula Ford days, really, for a driver in that respect, because you're just, it's seat of your pants stuff.
Yes, it's only down to the driver, but it's a big Formula Ford, like 750 brake horse. But yeah, it's true, you're right, only down to the driver. It's going to be very slippery, so lots of sliding, only car control basically based race.
Well, if it was a beautiful afternoon at Wembley, you'd expect these sorts of crowds, but this is how stalwart they are. When you combine both motor racing and football, they will sit in any conditions to watch it. And I tell you what, I've been well impressed with the flags, with everyone wearing the shirts of their teams and coming in to support this brand new Super League formula. Typical summer conditions for England, but here we go. Race 2 will be dramatic, without a doubt. A rolling start, and perhaps just as well. And there could well be 2 warm-up laps for the exact reason that you stated, which is to get tyre up to temperature.
Yes, it's a normal regulation that when the track is wet, for the drivers to have a look at the track, they do 2 warm-up laps. So,
and we're expecting Olympiacos to start from the pit lane, and we saw them in their pits earlier. And basically, that's not such a problem. I mean, they'll basically avoid any debris into the first corner if that happens, but they will literally join in at the bottom of Redgate. It won't be too much of a problem.
No, especially not when it's a wet race. You can make up a lot of time if you're competitive. So no, for sure you're going to avoid the trouble in the first corner. First race, Redgate was very clear. No damage, no crashes, nothing. I was very surprised. They all did a very good job. So let's cross our fingers so that it happens again.
As in football, as in motor racing, we could expect an upset. Could it be Dortmund, Borussia Dortmund? They did it in '97, winning the European Cup against Juventus. Could they do it here in Super League formula? This man's nodding in agreement. Here we go on the warm-up lap then. Wet conditions, and Bruce, as you start to see those conditions, oh, we've got a problem there. LAN stuck on the grid.
I think it's Anderlecht.
It's Anderlecht, yes. Excuse me. And well, I said that Craig Dolby hadn't had a lot of time in the car, and either a mistake by him or a mechanical difficulty has left him stranded on the grid. They're going quickly to try and get it restarted. There you see the Olympiacos car just about to join at the back of this circuit. We've also got another car somewhere at the back as well, by the looks of things. So here we go, and while we're waiting to see what happens to Anderlecht, looks as though they're going to take him out. Yeah, sadly. Electric problems all weekend, and it's just not got any better. But you know what? As we said right at the beginning of the day, this is a brand new formula. There are going to be these niggling problems for cars, and he's really upset. He's got his whole family down here. He's from Melton Mowbray, and really upset. He really wanted to take part in this race. You can see he's got the British flag blazoned on his helmet, and now he's making that long walk back to the pits and back to his team. But it really must be frustrating for a driver.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I mean, they had problems all along the weekend, and they had a very short amount of time to fix the problems. They couldn't fix them. So it's a real shame, because we saw them on the grid, and I thought they were going to be okay, and he did all the warm-up laps fine. Too bad.
And there is Craig Dolby. And just in terms of the conditions as we go on board here, obviously it's not good, but you've raced in these conditions before. Would you be confident to race in these conditions, or would it be really tough?
Well, it's always really tough in single-seaters to race in wet conditions, because when you're starting at the front it's okay, but the further back you start, the less you can see, and you're actually completely in the fog. So no, it's never really funny, but it's an opportunity of doing a good race if you stay on the track, and if you manage to find the good lines and the grip around the track.
Will the overtaking positions be the same as in race 1 in the dry, or will there be other opportunities there?
They will be the same, plus other opportunities, because there is the room for mistake is even bigger. So you will see overtaking maneuvers happening in many places. Actually, everywhere around the track it's possible.
We have time to remind you of the format again. This, a brand new formula, therefore brand new rules, and a very innovative way of approaching motor racing. Bottom line is, you win the first race, you go to the back for race 2. But you still will have a chance to score points. Points are scored throughout the full 17-car grid, and therefore the man at the back from Beijing has every chance of being at the top of the league at the end of the day. And that's really what this is all about. So it's a case of the guys at the back, AS Roma, Eindhoven and so on, trying to come through, not necessarily win the race. No one would expect that. But the idea is to get as many points and at the end of the day be on top of the league.
Yeah, exactly. It's obviously going to be super difficult to catch back 17 cars in front of you, but you have to go up the field to score as many points as possible, and you're fighting against the guys you were on the podium with, because they start at the back with you, and try to be in front of them basically.
Bruce, you've raced pretty much most of these guys in the pack. Who do you think is the Rainmeister?
Good question. I have no idea.
Good.
It depends on the car as well. I mean, Borja's up there. He's starting on 5th position. He's going to be strong. I've never raced against Nelson Philippe. We tested together but never raced together, so I don't know how he's going to cope with the wet, but I think he's going to be good. I mean, we'll see. Beijing had great traction in race 1. He could be very strong in the wet as well.
It's going to be hard to see. Visibility will be a big problem, I'm sure. We'll get some onboard shots throughout the race, but visibility tough for the drivers for sure. And also making a decision, split-second decision, all you can see is a red flashing light sometimes, and you really can't see much further than that.
No.
So to try and overtake is brave.
Yes, sometimes you can't even see the light, and the light comes up to you when you're very close, and that could be too late. So yeah, you don't see anything at all. That's as simple as that.
Right, we are looking for a rolling start at the end of this lap. We were expecting 2 warm-up laps. There are Rangers, and their fans are here. Probably, I would actually say that in terms of fans, Rangers have won this afternoon. They have come out in full throng to support their team. And that's impressive, given that they are playing the Old Firm derby this afternoon against Celtic. But there's plenty of Rangers fans to cheer on their car.
Okay, the entire field is ready. Galatasaray not giving space.
So the field being led away by Flamenco, and we are starting this race. Dortmund come alongside them immediately. A great start from Dortmund as they're coming around the outside into Redgate for the first time. Galatasaray in 3rd place. Basel gets a good start as well, but everybody tentatively through Hollywood. Down the Craner curves.
Everybody was very cautious. That's good. No cars out so far. Galatasaray jumping into 2nd place.
Flamenco got the start they wanted. Oh, and a big off there.
Oh, and he's going to crash into someone. Oh, very lucky.
Very lucky. Well, Alain, Andy Zuber out of this one for sure. And just not quite, I'm not sure what he did.
No.
Well, he's sponsored by Dominator Yachts, and he just sailed off the track for sure. That was not good.
No, very lucky that he didn't touch anyone coming back. Yeah,
now you see it.
Tangled wheels with
Rangers.
With FC Porto.
Actually, no, with Tristan Gomedy out of FC Porto, and it looks as though Porto's got away with that without any damage. But surely Zuba out of this one, and it could also bring out a safety car.
Yes, all the things we saw flying is just a board from the side of the track. So apparently both cars aren't damaged.
Well, their sponsors Al Qudra were certainly getting plenty of time anyway.
Nelson Philippe back into 2nd place. He overtook Galatasaray again.
Yep. But as you can see,
and
Flamenco.
And FC Basel making a move on Galatasaray.
Yeah, and a good one too, up the inside of the Melbourne Loop.
Couldn't find the traction on the inside. That's where the rubber is.
Sevilla's got away well there in 5th place.
And Borja Garcia very tight into the last hairpin. And Nelson Philippe being overtaken again. So
and here we go, down the main straight. No safety car out yet. Oh, the safety car.
Side by side. You can't even see the car, Nelson Philippe. His car, you couldn't even see him.
Oh, up the inside at Redgate. Brave move by Galatasaray. And they hit the front. There is the safety car. Well, I saw that come up, and so now he's going to have to stop quickly. Okay, so Galatasaray lead.
He has to stop, and he has to give back the place that he just took.
Yeah, I think he will. Porto coming into the pits meanwhile, due to that incident with Alain. You can see debris at the bottom of Craner curves. There is the stranded Alain car, which will be put out the way. That's why the safety car is out. The race continues, 36 minutes. We have a clock. If you're wondering what that clock tells you, the race itself will clock down to 0, and then we'll have one more lap. That's how long the race is. So as you see, as you quite rightly pointed out, Bruce, Galatasaray have got behind Flamenco.
Flamenco and actually Borussia Dortmund as well, because he did the maneuver as the safety car was already there. It's very understandable. Conditions are very hard. You can't see anything. If the team didn't come to him on the radio to tell him that there was a safety car, he couldn't see the safety car board.
So we're under safety. Let's have a look at what happened again. It was a coming together between Porto. There's Porto in front and Alain taking out the Michelin boards at the bottom of the Craner curves and throwing debris everywhere. Luckily, amazingly, everybody avoided him. Liverpool obviously having to take an extra braking moment there just to avoid Andy Zuba.
And there is the FC Porto car has a little bit of damage, and as we see from the AS Roma car, he avoided it, which was...
But it allowed Liverpool through.
Yes.
Let's give you a check on the order. Flamenco, ooh, what is...
Gomendi again pushing AS Roma off. They both went off. They both braked too late. Who's going to stay in front?
So that's actually the real damage that was caused to Porto. It was in that clash. And once back with Alain and Zuba, he's out of the car and out of the race. I was going to give you a check on the leaderboard. It's Flamenco, Galatasaray, Borussia Dortmund in third place, Basel in fourth, Sevilla in fifth place, Corinthians, the South Americans, are in sixth, Glasgow Rangers are in seventh place, Liverpool are in eighth, PSV Eindhoven in 10th position, Tottenham up into the top 10, they're in ninth, Beijing, Guan are in 11th position, AS Roma, who you saw in that fisticuffs there with Porto, they are still running, they are in 12th, Olympiacos, who started from the pit lane, are in 13th position. Well, treacherous conditions, tough conditions, and in fact they've worsened, Bruce. This is really a downpour, a midsummer downpour here at Donington Park, and the conditions as Eindhoven come in and go out again, and they will rejoin in last place, and Jelmer Berman, the Dutchman.
Yeah, interesting. FC Basel was the quickest on that first lap, 1:47.2 times of 27 seconds. 27 seconds off.
Well, you've got to think that that's when they took the lead. That's why, you know, unfortunately the safety car had already been called out.
Yes, right. And oh yeah, you can see.
Oh yeah, and that's the Michelin hoarding.
Yes,
he's
exactly.
trying to shake it. Well, smart move by Jelmer Berman, but he's unfortunately got that. He might want to brake. That's why he came in. Okay, and by the time he stopped, they pull it out of the way, and that's exactly what happened. Great coverage, so we know exactly what happened there. Poor old Jelmer. Well.
Just for information, the car would have been completely undrivable with that thing on top of the front wing, because it takes away all of the front wing effect, and you can't drive. And the top speed is a disaster, so he had to stop and take it off.
There's Andy Zuba out of the car at the bottom of the hill.
Andy, who had quite a good result in the first run, finishing sixth.
Give you a reminder of what's happened at the start of the race. Anderlecht already out. Craig Dolby disconsolately walking back to the pits. We got off to a good clean start. Galatasaray got the best lap, but then a few comings together, including Porto coming together with Alain coming off worse, then Porto coming together with AS Roma, and Porto having to pit Tottenham Hotspur, getting a decent start from the back. They're up into the top 10, so no question about it. Duncan Tappy is having an awesome weekend.
Here we've got...
There's Rangers.
Rangers, yes.
Another Scotsman, Ryan Diel, who of course has been racing in the USA, very used to safety cars and rolling starts. And we have another lap under safety. And Basel still holding on to a very good start in fourth place. Sevilla looking for points, remember.
Basel's looking strong, Galatasaray is looking strong as well. Sevilla seemed struggling a little bit because he's really very much into the fog as the cars in front of him are fighting. They take all the room available on the track and he can't see anything.
So actually Tottenham and Beijing are going to be fighting it out for the top of the league really at the end of the day, because Beijing and Tottenham in that top 10, and of course as other cars fall out there's more chances for more prizes, if you like, more points. Still debris on the track, and that's on the racing line, isn't it? God, look at these conditions.
It is completely on the racing line, plus you can't see the debris. As you can see from an onboard camera, you can't see anything. So it's going to be hard to avoid it, and let's hope it doesn't cause any puncture or anything.
It must be frightening.
Especially when you have that much
power behind you.
Yes, it is.
V12, 4.2. Corinthians unveil their flag. Euro International, their team, of course, and maybe they'll have something to wave that flag for this race, because they didn't last time. There is the Corinthians car, currently running in sixth place. I had a quick chat with their team manager in the interim between the races, and he said it was no problem. They were touched from behind. They touched Alain in front, and then Dortmund took them out effectively, spun them both round, and not too much damage, and so it wasn't a rebuild or anything. Everything fine.
Yeah, just a race thing really. They just tangled wheels and they couldn't avoid each other, so that was really fine and no big damage.
And there you see Andreas Suber joining the marshals for the afternoon and keeping in the dry. He's trying to stay out of the wet, and the Austrian probably used to some rainy conditions. Now, another question for you. How warm will the tyres be at the restart? Because they're not going very fast.
They will not be warm at all. They will be completely cold, and it's going to be very, very slippery, and it's going to be hard to keep the car on the tarmac.
Well, there you go. Galatasaray made a move on the lead Flamenco, but of course that was when the safety car came out. That's why, just to explain, here's what happened. Galatasaray going up the inside here of Flamenco, but by then the safety car was already called out on track. You can see there in the top right of your shot there that the safety car was already on track, so that was a situation deemed that he shouldn't have overtaken.
Yeah, and you could see actually Tuka Rocha from Flamengo was surprised, and even now he overtook Dortmund. Dortmund let him pass because he knew he was doing a mistake.
Yeah, so that's Alessandro Perguidi, a little bit overexcited for Galatasaray, but still running. Let's hope they don't penalise him further.
He gave back the position,
so it should be fine.
He should be fine, yes, he should be fine.
29 minutes to go.
Still the lights on the safety car, Jonathan. So
yeah, well,
lap.
yeah, but I think we're not far away from getting under racing conditions, but I think this is going to be the tail of the race 2. There's Guan FC, the winners of the first race, currently in 10th position, and in front of them are Tottenham Hotspur. AS Roma just behind Beijing, so you can basically say that the afternoon will be about those three. We're keeping a watchful eye on 9th, 10th and 11th because they were the top three in the first race. Eindhoven also in 13th position are circulating as well. We'll keep an eye on them.
Probably making a charge together. If they do a clever race, they will follow each other, help each other to go back up to the lead or as far up as they can, and then fight against each other. But they first have to go through the field together.
The lights coming off on the safety car, which means it will come off this lap, and we will be racing here in race 2 of Super League Formula. What can Rangers do at the restart? In comes the safety car after this corner, and Flamenco will lead the race. And will Galatasaray get their chance? Will Dortmund try and make a move into Redgate? What would you do, Bruce?
I would take it easy. I would try to get the best start initially as possible with the less wheel spin as possible to try to make a move into the lead. But then if I don't manage to overtake the car from the start, I would just be careful, basically. The race is still very long, 30 minutes to go. Plenty of time to take back the lead.
Here we go then. Race 2 really starts in anger right now with 27 minutes to go. Flamenco lead the way in a plume of rain. Ahead of Dortmund, Galatasaray, Basel going through in 4th place. Everybody holding station. There's Sevilla. The Spanish are going strong with Borja Garcia in 5th place.
And Basel making a move, or Basel very close to make a move onto Galatasaray, but it's extremely slippery. See, the
conditions are as bad as I've ever seen them in motor racing. Terrible. This is really, really tough. It's going to test their mettle when you've certainly got 750 brake horsepower behind you.
Yes, but look at Borja. He's not even taking the line. He's just trying to follow.
Trying to see.
Yeah, trying to see. Basel had to lift off and give some room because he couldn't see anything.
Nothing between the top three. There's a little gap to 4th place. Sevilla still in 5th. Corinthians going through in 6th. Rangers are up to 7th place. Liverpool are in 8th at the moment.
Just trying to find their way around the track. Just trying to avoid basically the big amount of water that they've got in front of them, of spray basically. They're just trying to get up. We can't even see the second car.
It's incredible.
It's mad.
And it doesn't look as though the conditions are going to abate either, because it's still pouring down here and no sign of it getting any better. So if anybody does do the full 26 minutes, then Flamenco, the Brazilians, Tuca Roca, plenty of experience, didn't have such a good run in the first race, but this could be his golden opportunity for Flamenco.
Keeping the lead so far. I mean, they're all being very cautious, all being very careful. Sevilla, Borja Garcia, we can hardly see. Nelson Philippe getting close to the leader. Oh, very, very close indeed.
Nelson Philippe really excited about getting a drive, only came in at the last moment. He, of course, has been racing in America, the Frenchman. He too lost out to a drive after the Champ Car, and Indy Racing League came together again, back facing from Superleague. And you can see just how little throttle they're using.
Yes, they're not. It's a place where you should be flat, and where you're easily flat all the way down in the dry conditions, but they're not even flat now. Third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, not flat. So it tells you how slippery it is.
Tottenham still circulating just behind Glasgow Rangers now in 8th position, and it's really interesting. The British clubs are 8th, 9th and 10th at the moment, or 7th, 8th and 9th.
Tuka Rocha being very much on the edge. You can see the car moving a lot, and there is not a lot of room for sliding. If you get the car more than 20 degrees on the side, you're spinning basically.
Would you argue that surely Flamenco have got the advantage in these conditions, because obviously there's no spray for them at the moment, and if anybody's going to get a decent lap in, it's going to be them.
For sure, for sure. I mean, you see the cars behind. There's one car on the left, one car on the right. The only thing they try to do is to avoid the spray. I think Nelson Philippe is faster, but Flamenco have got the advantage of being in the lead basically.
Well, we're going to see just how skillful these guys are. Flamenco leading the way at the moment. And Takaroka doing a really good job.
Yes.
Into the Melbourne loop.
Good thing.
Out he comes, back on the power.
Good thing when you're in the lead, you can use as much track as possible. Go from the left side of the track to the right side of the track, and you put spray everywhere in the track.
And when you've got sitting water, as there is out there, you can see it first, whereas everybody else hasn't got a chance, have they?
Exactly. So if he really basically goes left from right, right from left in the straight, then he puts spray everywhere in the straight, and the guys behind they can't see where they're going.
Well, it's amazing. Everybody almost keeping about a 2-second gap. Under investigation, Galatasaray and Dortmund. And the reason for that will surely be because when the safety car came out, there was overtaking going on, mainly I think involving Galatasaray. I don't see where Dortmund come into this, but we'll see. But they're under investigation from the stewards. Beijing also pushing hard at the moment, right behind Liverpool, and they are in 9th position. So Davide Rigon also good in the wet as he is in the dry. And there's about a 2-second gap between all the cars at the moment. In fact, the leaders are the closest. Dortmund right there with Flamenco in 1st and 2nd place as they head out of Coppice once again. Oh no! Dortmund spins it! Oh no! Out he goes, all on his own. And that is purely the conditions. Nelson Philippe goes pirouetting at Donington Park, but he didn't have his dancing shoes on.
I think he might have kept the engine running, hopefully.
Dortmund watching on. Zach Speed, his team, of course, and here's what happened. I tell you what, I think he actually put a tyre on the grass there.
Probably, I think he did put too much power. It's so easy to spin. You see, it's amazing that it's the first car spinning. We haven't seen anyone else spinning at the back, and it's so easy. But he kept it running. Oh, we can see, as we can see, up, too much power.
That's exactly what it was.
And there he always spins.
It is actually where you put the power on at Coppice, isn't it?
Exactly, but very good reflex that he had. He did turn the steering wheel opposite lock and went back on the track, kept the engine running. See, up, a little bit.
Yeah, just a little too early.
Yes.
Well, I think we might see a lot of this. I mean, these are incredible conditions. I don't expect too many finishes here because conditions are just so tough, especially with a car this big, with this much power, with the lack of grip. The tyres aren't as warm perhaps as they would want, and there's problems. Here is Beijing. 22 minutes to go. Beijing are in contention, surely to be top of the league. They're going up to 9th now.
Good job from Tottenham.
Galatasaray are off. Galatasaray are off, and that is a big crash. The rear wing has disappeared from Alessandro Peguidi. Well, he's been under investigation. There's no need to investigate any further. He is out, and that effectively is a sending off for him.
Oh,
boom.
Oh, no way.
And he's come together with Rangers.
Crashed another car.
Luckily, as you can see, Ryan Dale is already out of the car. And you have to wonder now whether the stewards might even slow things down and look for a way of ending this earlier than expected, simply because I think conditions are not getting any better. Although, amazingly, Flamenco power on. 8 laps gone, 21 minutes to go. The battle is for 2nd and 3rd. Basel and Sevilla.
And Sevilla making a move on Basel, maybe. Looks like it. And yet, Sevilla making a move on Basel. Sevilla on the inside.
Nice move.
But Basel will get the best traction out of the corner. No.
It's absolutely anybody's race, isn't it?
Yes, Borja made a very nice move. Didn't get too close from the other driver. No chance of banging wheels or anything.
Flamenco have already crossed the line.
Yep.
Second place now is Sevilla.
Very strong drive, very consistent driver.
Well, I asked the question, who's the Rainmeister? And I think it's the man who will, I'm sure, be frosting up those and steaming up those glasses, Borja Garcia. I don't know if he drives with them on or not.
Yes, he does.
He does. So
yes.
Therefore, we have a bespectacled driver, just a la Bourdais, a la Jacques Villeneuve. And this one is Borja Garcia. That's the gap between him and second place Basel, 0.7 of a second. But really, these gaps really mean nothing because it's one bit of wheel spin, one bit of overpower, and it's all over in this. It really is quite like tiptoeing across ice, isn't it?
It is completely, yeah. It's very, very hard to judge the amount of throttle you can actually use. And as we can see, Borussia Dortmund is still there, and he's running fourth as Galatasaray went off. He spun the car, but he kept it on track, and he's there.
Safety car is out. Well, I expected that. Two cars at the edge of Coppice in a dangerous position. The safety car forms up, and now Flamenco, having gained a massive 8-second lead to start with, will have to do it all again. But the Brazilians lead. Spain are in second place with Sevilla. Basel of Switzerland are in third place.
Borussia Dortmund fourth.
Corinthians up to fifth, and Tottenham Hotspur now in sixth place. That's great for them. Liverpool still behind them. That's how they finished behind each other in the first race. But Liverpool will be having a good day. And this is remarkable when you consider that Liverpool started at the back for race one and had an alternator problem after qualifying and didn't get a qualifying lap in. So it's all turned around for them. Borja Garcia will now catch right up to Flamenco.
We were on board with, I think, the Tottenham Hotspurs.
Duncan Tappy, yeah.
Duncan Tappy.
Down the hill they come in atrocious conditions at Donington Park. Yes, you haven't missed a season. This really is the summer in Great Britain, I'm afraid to say. It's been like this all year. Well, all summer anyway. 18 minutes to go, and it's going to be a long, hard 18 minutes for Flamenco. But it will be worth it if they can make it to the end for sure.
I hope the safety car will not be too long because, again, they have the tires losing all the temperature.
Tuca Roca leads the field. Astromega, his team, watching on.
And now we've got Borussia Dortmund running in third position. Where has FC Basel gone? He's seventh.
So Basel had a problem there.
Yes, Basel
something
must have
went
made
wrong.
A mistake or something went wrong.
Seventh place they've gone down to. Oh,
here he is.
And there it is. Big off.
Yep.
Pirouetting nicely, but looking as though they kept it going again. Yeah, just conditions again. You can't blame any drivers here. And these conditions, it's fair to say, Bruce, that they're actually all doing a remarkable job. This isn't bad driving by any means. There's Galatasaray's off, and they fly straight into Rangers, and thankfully, nobody in the car.
We've got two cars with no rear wings. There you go. No, it's extremely hard in those conditions. We've seen not many spins comparing to the, well, knowing the track conditions, I would have thought you would have seen more mistakes.
And you know, it's typical. That's out of Hollywood again, just about to get on the power to go down the hill, and it's a classic off, yes. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is a classic. Very lucky that I was thinking very lucky that FC Basel could rejoin because he went into the gravel trap and he powered the car out of the gravel trap, which is very lucky.
Alessandro Perguidi walking back to the pits then. That's the end of his day, with all eyes on Flamenco.
Alessandro Perguidi looked strong initially. He was fighting for the podium, but he was a little bit too optimistic with the throttle.
Tuco Roca is his name. He's from Sao Paulo, in fact, but funnily enough, you'd say, oh, what on earth is he doing then driving for Flamenco? Well, he drives for Flamenco. His grandparents used to take him up to Rio de Janeiro when he was a young 9-year-old, and he used to watch their team, so he is a big fan.
yeah, he explained that it was a dream for him to be driving for them and a great honor. All the pack is back together, no more gaps, a bit of a gap between...
I'll tell you what, Bruce, it's not it's not a good day for motor racing in these conditions. It's not even a good enough conditions for football. This was really treacherous.
Yeah, it's very bad. It's not getting better. It's raining even harder now, as you can see on the track. Plenty of standing water, which is not good.
Euro International Corinthians watching their man. There he is.
I'm telling you, Corinthians is doing well as well. They're up to 4th now. They haven't got any running on the car. The car is completely brand new. This is probably the car who had the less testing time on track, and they're doing well. Andy Suchek being the driver, lots of experience. I think he's taking it easy and wants to bring the car back.
Well, by my estimations, Tottenham are going to be vying for the top of the league. They're currently in 5th position. And looking down, Beijing are in 9th position. Safety car's going to come in off this lap. He's had enough. Early shower for the safety car. And then we will be racing again. And it'll be a 14-minute sprint, effectively, or as much as they can do in these conditions. They are not getting any better at the moment. We'll keep an eye on Tottenham, we'll keep an eye on Beijing, we'll keep an eye on AS Roma as well, because coming second last time, they are in a good position to top the league as well. In comes the safety car. We're about to go racing again. Tuco Rocca will lead them away for Flamenco. Here we go.
Good start.
Great start. Sevilla got a good start too. Dortmund are away. Corinthians have got a better start. Spurs are away. Liverpool are behind them. Basel have dropped down to 7th position. Eindhoven are 8th. Beijing still in 9th position, being chased hard by AS Roma. Down the hill they come, into the crane of curves, into that very, very scary right-hander. And in these conditions, even scarier. Here it comes right now. That's where Alain came off under power.
Yep, Dortmund taking it easy on the first lap.
Ooh, Sevilla pushing hard. Borja Garcia really having to work that car at the moment. Through the spray, towards the Schwanz curve. Ooh, and a little bit of a moment there for Corinthians.
You have to really try to avoid what is called the dry line, basically, because that's where the rubber and the oil is standing, and that's extremely slippery, like ice, basically.
Oh, interesting, because I would have thought you'd have stayed in the wheel tracks. No, not the case.
No, opposite. You try to find the grip on the lines which are not the dry line, so you try to create a wet line which is outside of the dry line, basically, to find the grip.
It's absolutely appalling conditions. Flamenco are getting the best of it. Sevilla still in 2nd place. Out of the mist comes Borussia Dortmund. Corinthians are the team on the move. They're in 4th place. Euro International will be pleased with this.
Really want to keep the car on the track. That's all you want to do now. Keep your position and try to be there towards the end of the race. Oh, Tottenham looking strong as well. Tottenham being very close to the Corinthians.
The Corinthians, a proud old club formed all the way back in 1910, and they've won pretty much everything. And can boast the likes of Socrates and Neco, Evelino, some great names from Brazilian football. Flamenco, though, just as powerful, just as strong. And at the moment, they lead the Spanish Flamenco by half a second. A 1:43.4 by Flamenco in that last lap is a lot quicker, Bruce, than anybody so far.
Yes, indeed. Nearly 1 second quicker than Sevilla, 2 seconds quicker, nearly 3 seconds quicker than Borussia Dortmund. Again, 4 seconds quicker than Corinthians. It's a typical scheme of how it has to be or how it is in the rain, basically.
So really tough time for the teams too, trying to work out just how their car's going to get to the finish in these sorts of conditions. Really, it's a total lottery.
Yes, it is. We can see Borussia Dortmund not quite following the 2 leaders. Sevilla looking strong and catching up.
And you can hear by the note of the engine how low it is and how little power they're having to put down. Looking in the mirrors there. Oh, and a problem for Olympiacos. Casper Anderson getting it wrong. And the Greeks are out, but back on track.
He was quite far back, running in 11th position. And San Philippe here on board.
If anything, the most impressive drive for me is Borja Garcia, and he leaves it very late at the Melbourne Loop. Goes almost into the back of Flamenco. We have a race on now in the wet here.
he had to brake again, as you could see. He had to
Oh, look at this!
slow down
Borja's
again.
coming alongside him as they come towards Goddard. He's going for it.
Ooh.
He thought about it, and he's going to have another go at Redgate. Borja Garcia's definitely got some confidence now. Got to be careful, though. He could blow it all, but he knows if he can get the lead, he can pull away.
Yes, I think he could be a little bit quicker, and he is quicker.
Yeah, look at that.
lap.
43.9 compared. He was almost a second quicker in that last lap. Now, looking at the conditions, looking at the track, where's his next opportunity? And he's going for it now everywhere.
Yes, I think but he will wait, and he has to wait for the last
I'm not so sure he will.
chicane, Melbourne, Goddard. That's where you can't do the move without taking
I'll
too
predict
much
he's
risk.
going to make a go at McLean's. Here you go. We'll see. Here we come. Up through Schwantz.
He could actually, you're right. He's very close.
I think he's thinking about it. I think he wants by quickly. And defensive driving by Flamenco. Here is McLean's, and he hasn't been able to do it, but he was definitely thinking about it. What about Coppice? He looks there, slight straight here, towards Coppice. Up the hill they come, over the crest. Can't do it there, got to be careful.
Yeah.
Now his opportunity is the Foggy Essence. He'll come under the bridge here.
And he's getting quite close, and you can see...
He's got the power, he just knows it.
You see the water just smashing into the helmet of the driver.
He's not close enough. He might try the game at the Melbourne Loop.
But I mean, Flamengo is capable of doing very fast laps. We saw his first lap being in the 43s as well, which is the same performance as Sevilla. So if he puts on a good lap, then Sevilla is not going to be able to overtake. Too far again. Getting close at the mid corner, basically. Oh, there you go.
Here we go, down towards Goddard. This is a run for the lead. Borja Garcia and Sevilla take the lead from Flamenco in brilliant fashion. Well, that was textbook motor racing, and in these conditions, very hard to pull off. And yes, you can see his team absolutely delighted with that. The Spanish are leading.
And Borja, I know Borja very well. He was my teammate in World Series.
Oh, I tell you what, Flamenco are done.
He's if he stays in the lead and pulls a little gap, then he's going to be very, very consistent, very strong, solid run, and he could take it till the end of the race.
Where were you teammates?
World Series by Renault, in an Italian team actually, and we had a good season. He had a very good season indeed, but it was very pleasant to be his teammate, and we worked out together very well.
Liverpool have got ahead of Tottenham, but by my accounting, I think Tottenham could well be top of the league if they keep powering on. Here's another look at the overtaking. Sevilla going through on Flamenco, and that was really excellent stuff at Goddard's.
Good move.
So then, Sevilla, Flamenco, Dortmund still third, Corinthians still fourth, Liverpool have got ahead of Tottenham, and PSV Eindhoven in 7th place. Basel have dropped to 8th, Beijing still 9th. They're holding position. AS Roma have done nothing. Enrico Toccacello has stayed behind Beijing, and they are 10th. FC Porto.
And the Borja pulled away a big gap, 2.5 seconds.
I think that's why he was pushing so hard. I think he felt, though, he could go quicker.
Yeah. I reckon 2.5 seconds. We'll see once we cross the board.
7 minutes to go. Sevilla looking for victory. Met up with Borja Garcia in Barcelona, and he was telling me that he was from Valencia, but he often goes up to Sevilla, and in fact the goalkeeper for Sevilla is one of his favourite players.
Yeah. More than 3 second gap, 3.5 seconds I guess.
There are Tottenham Hotspur, and they've got PSV Eindhoven all over the back of him, and Jelmer Berman all over the back there of Tottenham Hotspur down the straight in these ridiculously atrocious conditions. Never seen conditions like this. And somehow, some way, Jelmer Berman's going to try and find a way past Duncan Tappy. He's up at Redgate, he's going for it. Tappy closes the door. Spurs will defend that position. They too, of course, are going for the top of the league. Beijing are looking to try and stay there as they come through the field. They're up to 9th at the moment, but Tottenham are ahead of them, but only finished 3rd in race 1. And it could be really close at the end of this race, as I predicted at the moment. And we're behind the scenes racking our brains as to who will do it, but the permutations are pretty much this. Beijing could be top of the league by only a point ahead of Tottenham Hotspur and Sevilla. So Sevilla will be right up there in the league. And Sevilla just doing a 1:43.0. Galatasaray in the wars again. Another spin.
AS Roma.
That's AS Roma, excuse me. Of course, Galatasaray are out. And that was AS Roma spinning out of 10th place. Enrico Toccacello, well, he just went straight on at the bottom of the hill, didn't he?
Yes, he couldn't stop the car
Lost
fast
traction.
enough. It was and then he spun. He avoided the spun by going straight, basically, but then he couldn't get the car back without a spin. But he kept the engine running, and that's the main thing.
Well, impressive driving by this man, Borja Garcia. He's now got a 4.5 second lead, and he's built that in just a few laps. That's why he was desperate to get past Flamenco. And look at him pushing, still hard. Coming past our commentary positions. Plume of wet weather behind him. But he's got the best vision of all right now.
And another very fast lap from Borja, 43.7, and his fastest lap being 42.1, being 1.5 seconds quicker than Flamengo, who's second at the moment.
Beijing have just got past FC Basel and moved to 8th position, and that does consolidate further their position of being ahead of the table. And they did it at the Dunlop Loop. Got ahead there, got on the power early, and once again Davide Rigon is doing the business. So I think now you can safely say that Beijing will lead the Super League at the end of the day if, and I say if because anything can happen in these conditions, they stay on board. I say that, typical commentator's blight. He almost went off there. Davide, be careful, my friend.
He kept it on track.
Well, what did he do wrong, do you think?
A little bit of turning oversteer, a little bit too much entry speed, and he tried to get the car into the corner with a little bit too much brakes and angle in the steering wheel, which makes the car wants to flip. Basically, the back of the car wants to snap towards the front.
Effectively, well, there's another look at it.
Turn in, whoop, the back of the car's coming in, but he very early, balanced the car with the steering wheel, so he did a good job with that. He kept it on the track.
They say time waits for no man, and Beijing are hopefully running down the clock as quickly as we are, because time is running out. We're getting into injury time in this one because there are literally less than 4 minutes to go, and if you think about clocking at 1:42 roughly a lap, Steve Farrell, who is the technical director here for the cars, been putting all the cars together. Nervous day for him. It's been a nervous 6 months for him, poor man. But he's done a fantastic job to get them all out there today, especially in these conditions. And yeah, time is clicking away now for Beijing. Sevilla doing a brilliant job. They're holding on now.
Steve was my boss for 6 months. Been working with him. It's been a pleasure, and I learned a lot from him. And he's very nervous today,
I'm sure he is. FC Porto going through your shot there. PSV Eindhoven still circulating. Just to give you an update, it is Sevilla. Flamenco still second. Dortmund still in 3rd place. Corinthians are 4. Liverpool FC are in 5. Tottenham Hotspur are 6th. Beijing are now up to 7th and are definitely going to be top of the league at the end of the day. They've done a superb job all weekend long. Basel are 8th. Porto are still running in 9th. You just saw them there ahead of PSV Eindhoven. AS Roma have had a spin at the bottom of the hill, but they're okay and still in 11th place. But this is a brilliant mercurial drive from the young Spaniard, Borja Garcia, former teammate to the man alongside me, Bruce Giuani. 2 minutes to go, Bruce.
Yes.
He's got this, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's, as I said, once he's in the lead, he's so reliable as a driver. Very solid run, and I'm sure 99% he will not do a mistake. Please don't make me lie. Please don't make me lie, Borja. But I'm pretty confident he will take it till the end of the race. He's very fast as well. 1.5 seconds quicker than the second driver, so he could take it easy basically till the end of the race.
Olympiacos right at the back, but still circulating. Corinthians are 1:44.9, Liverpool are 1:44.0, so Liverpool still moving pretty fast there. There's Tristan Gomendi for FC Porto in that beautifully painted car. Good looking car that they all are with the club colours on, of course. But Sevilla are the team.
Another 2 laps to go, I think, for Sevilla, because there's 1 minute 42 remaining, which is a complete lap, so he will have to go on the grid on the finish line first, and then for another lap.
Well, in La Liga in Spain, of course, Frederic Canute for Sevilla has been a revelation in the past few seasons, and now Borja Garcia is doing so. Corinthians are out, so once again the Brazilians have another tough day. They had an accident in race 1, and now they're out of race 2. It's all over.
What a shame. 3 laps, 2 laps till before the end. And again, the car snaps on entry. As I said, very difficult not to make a mistake as you're entering the corner. The back of the car is a little bit heavy. Big V12 engine at the back, very easy to snap the car on entry.
Liverpool now vying for league honours as well. They're up to 4th place. Tottenham will follow them. Tottenham, of course, having taken 3rd place in the first race, are in contention, but Sevilla are still powering on. 45 seconds to go. And actually, I think it's going to be 2 more laps then because of this, because he's going to get round. Out of the car they come, but he's going to come past the finish line before the clock passes 0. So Sevilla will have 2 more laps to go now.
Yes.
And these are going to be long laps for poor old Borja.
Yeah, he has a good gap, good leading gap, about 11 seconds, which is another 2 seconds compared to the previous lap, which means he lapped 2 seconds quicker than Flamengo on that lap. So he could really take it easy, because 11 seconds and 2 laps or 1.5 laps to go, it's going to be easy.
Well, Liverpool went to Aston Villa this afternoon, worried about the fact that they had an injury to Steven Gerrard. And I think the man, Adrian Veirs, driving for Liverpool, had bigger problems with these conditions than the actual football team did, for sure.
Yeah, very hard life today for them. And he's getting very, very close of Dortmund.
So Beijing right behind Tottenham now.
Only 1 second behind Tottenham.
And Liverpool are circulating very quickly. 1:42.9 last time out by Veirs. And in fact, Basel did a 1:42.6. So the times are coming down. Conditions, I can't believe, are getting better, but they just may be.
And it could be that we see Liverpool overtaking Borussia Dortmund, because he's only half a second behind and he's
So the battle really is on now between Dortmund and Liverpool. That's where the action is. Sevilla, though, will plough on to... They've got another lap to do, remember, after this, because the clock ticked down.
Very tidy, Borja, driving very well, very solid, very reliable driver again.
Into the last corner. There's Liverpool and Dortmund. That's how close they are. You called it right there, Bruce. Out of he comes Sevilla. Out of Goddard's across the line. This will be the last lap, but the real battle is on to get Liverpool perhaps on the podium. Can they do it? It would be an historic moment for them in their club's history. Flamenco crossed the line now, and there you see it. Liverpool have done it. They're on. A big battle between them and Dortmund, and Liverpool have got through. Adrian Veirs has done the business in Redgate. Well, he did it actually at Goddard's at the last corner, but Liverpool, look at him sliding that car around. Now, Liverpool are in contention for the overall league leadership, and of course 6 rounds in total. We head to the Nürburgring in September and then Zolder, but it looks as though Beijing will hold on, given the fact that they've had a brilliant run to 6th place overall. And looks, actually they're only 1 second behind Tottenham. Beijing, they may well make a dive towards trying to get past Tottenham Hotspur before the end of this race. Sevilla, though, are going to win it. Liverpool have done a brilliant job to get up there into 3rd place.
Borja staying in the middle of the track.
Yeah, he's keeping it very cool now, isn't he? 11
seconds gap. So
Borja Garcia from Valencia in Spain, headed towards his first victory in Super Formula League. And, well, what a time to do it. The Super League Formula is just starting up. And Borja Garcia has joined up and wants to be a star in it. Says he's not much of a footballer, but he's starting to practice a bit more now because he knows he's going to be around a lot of it. Loved the launch. Was happy to be part of the team, and now has taken Sevilla FC to victory. Victory goes to the Spaniard. Wonderful scenes here, and this is what it's all about when you mix the most passionate sports in the world. You're going to get passion. We love it. That's Ian Eyre, the commercial director of Liverpool Football Club, who proudly presents the prize to Adrian Veirs. And the Spanish theme, as we've said, continues in Liverpool. They're quite happy having a Spanish driver. They've got a Spanish manager and some pretty handy Spanish players. That is the Flamenco president. Marcio Braga, and he is a proud man. And Sevilla, Jose Castro, the vice president of Sevilla Football Club, hands Borja Garcia the winner's trophy.
Very well done to them. Good job.
And as you say, it is a completely different atmosphere than any other motor race I've ever seen. A completely festival-like atmosphere, but that's what happens when you add that spice of football to it. It's completely different.
Yeah, it's just great. They're just so natural, happy, and it's fantastic atmosphere. It's the first time I have that feeling. It's great.